Hello, love. Welcome to the Chilove Radio Show, Pop Radio Worldwide, iHeartRadio, and Spotify Premium. Hosted by Melanie Hogan, founder of Chilove. Before we begin today's segment, let's take 3 deep breaths. As you inhale, you're going to let your tummy fill up with air. As you exhale, your tummy is going to fall back in. Let's do this 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Deep breathing exercises are good for bringing yourself into the present moment, not thinking about what occurred before, not anticipating what will occur afterwards. Sometimes you just gotta blow it out, release, and bring yourself into the present moment. Now, the coronavirus has impacted almost every segment of our livelihoods here in 2020. And seeing that school has started back up, there was a lot of debating and confusion, still a little confusion, going on about what is proper and what is best for the children. When I myself was asked to complete a survey regarding my child entering on that person learning, I declined. And when asked why, I said because my child's health and well-being is more important than person-to-person learning. We have so much technology out here, they can learn any and everywhere. And with Corona being so unpredictable and to have the effects that it has, why would I send my child to school to let them be a test dummy? When we all know that the school system is like one of the biggest cesspools of germs because it's such an abundance of children. And they look cutie pies and you want to squeeze their little cheeks, but a lot of them just be filled with a lot of germs. And then those germs come home with the children and impact the rest of the family. Nevertheless, there are parents who feel like they need their children to be with their person-in-person learning. Or for whatever reason, during these school hours, they need the children not to be home, but to be, supervised with other adults. So the Archdiocese, CPS is doing the remote learning, but the Archdiocese of Chicago, they're opening up, they opened up. And they asked the parent to sign a waiver before sending the child to school during the coronavirus pandemic. Parents reported receiving an acknowledgement stating they understand the risk, will adhere to coronavirus protocols, and waive the right to sue the school and the Catholic Bishop of Chicago for any claims of negligent exposure. The mere fact that within all of that paperwork you have to sign and fill out for school time, that there is an acknowledgement that if something happens to your child, they're not held liable for it. That's a problem. That's a red flag. And I know that there are, business reasons, because people sue all the time from, very important stuff to some of the pettiest, for the pettiest reasons. But the illness and death of a child, that's not something that you just re-acknowledge and, stand off on. At least not right away. I mean, goodness gracious. I'm just feeling like that's not a risk. I could even understand if the argument was that the only way for students or children to learn is if they are in a school, if they are in the physical presence of a teacher, a certified teacher. I could see if that was even a way. And still then, that's still not the answer. What does that say about a potential situation that you put your child in? And these are supposed to be the authority figures to step in to look over your child and make sure that they are as safe as they can be while receiving their education. And they saying that in the event that this happens, and it's like with sports, your children want to play sport. They're saying, if your child breaks something, whatever, we're not liable. You know the cost of this. But seeing how the coronavirus is just so unpredictable, and at first it was elders and those with underlying conditions, and then it started hitting, the numbers started going up between 18 and 29-year-olds. I just don't feel like this is the proper time to sacrifice a child. There is no proper time. But definitely with this corona pandemic, I mean, goodness gracious. They could be asymptomatic and bring something home to you, and now you sick. And if you are worried about being able to work your job, how well are you going to be able to work your job if you are quarantined with the virus? Or you have an elderly grandparent living in the house, or that the child sees often. And now they are taking that virus to your parent. Is it worth it? I don't know what everybody's circumstances are and their ability to do or not do, but my goodness gracious. Are you willing to take a chance? And I know in life, living in Chicago, period, you're taking a chance just by existing. But if there are certain things that we can do to help to prevent certain situations, let's try to start to dwell on into that part of it. And not, put ourselves in situations where, your child is coming back to you later on and feeling like you didn't love them like they needed to be loved. Feeling like you showed a form of neglect by, sending them into this institution with all the rest of these kids. And although there are not like numerous cases on, a lot of kids, but there are cases where they are saying kids are getting sick. And who wants the flu plus corona? Who wants a common cold plus corona? Who wants pneumonia plus corona? Those are ugly combinations. And me as a mother, it hurts my little heart to see one of my children sick. And that's just with a regular cold. But to see them fighting to breathe because of corona, and then I signed a waiver to put them in that position, that would be like devastating to know that I played a role in that. So I don't know about other parents, but that's just how I feel about it. So the archdiocese said that they required the parents to agree to review protocols put in place to limit the spread of coronavirus, but also acknowledges the risk of sending a child to school, as there was no foolproof measure to prevent the introduction of the virus in our school environment. This is the archdiocese. According to them, where they our God is. And they saying, listen, even with the sign of the cross, we can't protect you. We do not know for sure. Okay? So if you are going to take this risk and something happens to your child, you will not use this as a time to increase your income off of us. So legally, is it smart? Yes. But goodness gracious, I don't know if I was running the school, I don't know. There would not be no acknowledgement forms for that because we would be doing like remote learning. I'm going to tell you, like, I'm not going to put you in a position to put your child in a position to come into harm's way, especially when they are saying that people who have had positive results for this coronavirus, even after technically the virus has gone, they are still having difficulty breathing. They are still having side effects, and certain body parts have not bounced all the way back. And it's like, goodness gracious, give these children a chance. What type of future do we expect to have with the way that they are just like tossed around, used as little test dummies, and then supposed to just shake it off and go with the flow? If we as adults, as we as people in authority want to feel like somebody care enough about us, how you think these babies feel? And it's like they don't even have a say. Well, my children have a say in my house. Now I have the final say, but they have a say. But some children don't even have a say and could be following up on the info and the data with this whole corona thing and feel some type of way, already have some type of fear about anything. They just forced to be put in this position based on whatever circumstances of the parent or the decision of the parent. You say you love your child, and that is more than just tangible objects. Loving the child is also keeping them as safe as you possibly can. Even if you have to restructure your own life to do so. You hear me? So the Archdiocese said that it chose to include it as a way to impress upon parents the importance of our partnership in implementing these protocols to limiting the introduction and spread of disease in our school communities. Smart. Plus, you want to cover yourself, and they are saying, like, we're trying to let you guys know that this is some real stuff right here. And it's out of our hands. But we'll adhere to the guidelines set to try to prevent it. But just because you adhere to the guidelines set does not necessarily mean that you still won't catch it. That's how unpredictable it is. You could wash your hands all day long, sleep with your mask on. Some type of way you can still get it. So the Office of Catholic Schools informed its principals that if a family refused to sign the waiver portion of the document, that it would not recommend the family to be permitted to return for that reason, provided they accept their protocol and assumption of risk. Although the schools will work with the family. That's serious. But that's nice of them to still try to find a way to work with the families who refuse to sign a waiver. Some parents expressed concern after reading the letter. One parent said, I understand why they did it, but I wouldn't have felt comfortable signing it. I think that's the majority of the parents. So an attorney, Paul Lennon, he stepped in with his expertise and he specializes in education, and he said that it's unclear if such waivers will hold up in court. There is typically some limitations on it, he told NBC Channel 5. He said, but the waiver does not cover intentional or gross negligence, just ordinary negligence. See, now you might not even know that it was different degrees of negligence, different degrees of murder, different degrees. So you got yourself covered on one angle here, but then you uncovered on another. I don't know, just the fact that whatever acknowledgement I put together only covered so much of liability on my end, I'm shutting it down. And we will find another way or make one. That's probably the same meal model here in Chicago. Yeah. It's like it's just not worth the risk. It's not worth the risk when there are other ways to still get the job done. So despite plans from other area districts, including CPS, to start the year remotely, the Archdiocese of Chicago has continued on its plans to keep children in classrooms. You know, there is debate about, the socialization for the children, their development and all that. There are points that could be argued, but you can't socialize dead. Can't socialize if you can't breathe. Ain't gonna feel like socializing too hard if whatever came from that school then took one of your family members and you two overcome from grief. You can socialize later. Technology, social media helps us to socialize. Find a way or make a way and still make it work, okay? Goodness gracious. So now, let's go to the homeschooling portion, because majority of the parents are actually in the homeschooling position. Even through whether you are creating your own curriculum for your children, or if you are doing a remote learning program, or if you are going through another service provider who provides curriculum for homeschooling, they're still at home. And that is, I think, the majority of us parents. So here are some tips to help you through it. 1, designate a study room. Choose an area only designated for studying. Inform the whole family, or you can be creative and label the area. Do your best to eliminate distractions. For example, cell phone. That's like one of the main distractions of youth, but people, cell phones. Most of the schools, especially CPS, they are passing out tablets and laptops for the children to complete their assignments on and to correspond with their teachers. So there is really no reason for them to have their phone right there next to them. I don't know if it's a situation where they are old enough to be home, but you have to go to work, and you call them back and forth throughout the day or whatever to check on them or text, whatever. I don't know, just find some type of way to decrease the external stimuli, all the unnecessary distractions. Maybe you can have it set up to where, your check-in schedule, your check-in while you're at work is in alignment with the classroom schedule, so that you can tell your child, like, put the phone here in this room or whatever. After you go on break at 11:20, I'll be calling you at 11:25 to check in. Go to the room then, use the phone, do what you got to do. But find some type of way to just eliminate the extra distractions. Be committed and open to new things. That's the second tip. Remote learning may not be ideal, but just try to make the best of it. We're all in a situation where a change has come. It's, out of our hands overall. And, we just have to learn how to make the best of it until it passes. See it as an opportunity for learning and growth. The more we put ourselves in situations that stretch us, the more we'll be able to solve difficult problems, according to a Stanford University program. Growth allows you to deal with situations under new conditioning. For example, something as common and as natural as violence. When people get mad, animals get mad, violence. That's natural. With the growth and the reconditioning, you may still become angry, but instead of cutting a person's stomach open and choking them with their own intestines till their head pop off, you choose another method to deal with the situation. That's an example of growth. Growth is good. It expands us as people. Your attitude makes all the difference. So are you going to see the cup as half full, or are you going to see the cup as half empty? And depending on which way you're looking at it, is going to impact the effectiveness of it, the energy that's around it. Something that we always do before we begin our segment at the Chilove Radio Show. Take 3 deep breaths. A lot of people don't know how to properly breathe. We got a natural way, that our body breathes. And then there's a deep meditative breathing exercise, and it's kind of a little different from our natural breathing. The deep breathing really allows you to go in and pull it out. So when you take these 3 breaths and see the situation for what it is, your current reality, See it for what it is. Commit to making it the best experience possible. You might have to let your little brain start wrinkling on that. How can I make this messed up situation turn out to be as good of an experience that I can, make it into? How can I transmute this energy and bring something positive out of you? Bring something good out of you. Bring some sort of healing out of something. How can I turn this around to where we won't sink the ship? Online learning requires clear vision and goal setting to be effective. The level of commitment to online learning should be equal to or exceed in-classroom learning for it to be successful. Three, communicate often. Encourage your nervous child to speak up. Encourage them to ask questions and engage with their classes. Help them to identify things that they are confused and or worried about. Offer to help them talk with their teacher about any issues. The more they practice, the faster it will become a habit. Address any problems that arise as quickly as possible. So you may have a child who's nervous about asking questions, who may have asked questions previously and were told, "Oh, you stupid, that was a dumb question, la 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 la," get teased and ridiculed. So now when they have questions, they don't ask out of fear of being teased, out of fear of feeling stupid. And let your child know that it's okay. Just because they know it and you don't know it, don't limit yourself by stopping yourself from being able to receive that information so that you will know it too. Encourage your child to speak up more. If they don't want to speak up, let them know that you can always email a teacher. A lot of teachers give like a cell phone number. You can text the teacher. There are different ways to communicate. But the communication definitely needs to happen. And like at parent-teacher conferences, I've, overheard certain parents, the report card has come out. The F's are on the report card, okay? They have already kind of started the next quarter. And then after the F's are on the report card, now you're saying that it was issues at home. Now you're saying that the child seemed like they understood it when they was at school, and then when they got home, they had difficulties. Now you're saying after the F's have already hit the report card. So when you start to see, and you could reach out to your child's teacher even before they do, and let your child's teacher kind of know the nature, the energy of the child. They don't really ask a lot of questions. These are certain signs to kind of let you know that they're confused about some things or whatever. If you see something, if you're noticing some grades dropping or failing the test, please reach out to me so that we can get this situation handled. And teachers, I know that you have a great number of students that you have to deal with, but at the same time, If you see that this child has failed like 2, 3, 4, 5 tests or assignments, and you're not hearing anything from a parent, like, you should reach out. Don't just keep putting the low grades in the grade book and wait for the parent or the student to say that they're having an issue. One hand washes the other. There should be a positive support network, within somebody within school, the parent. It should be some type of contact and communication so that the child's needs are being met, because not everybody learns the same way. And if you're noticing that the child is not getting it according to this method of teaching, maybe little Johnny is more of a visual learner, or, we can set something else up according to how he learns instead of leaving his little self behind. So number 4, take brain breaks. We hear a lot of people, especially goal-oriented people, they like, I sleep when I'm dead. You sure will. Well, no, actually you won't. If you understand that energy can never be destroyed, and we are all energy form. But in the flesh, okay, yes, you won't be here. But sometimes your lack of sleep, you can work yourself to death. What about the longevity? Don't you want to be able to benefit and experience, the whole new vibration that you have brought into your life from accomplishing these goals? Don't just work yourself to death. You will start to burn out. So there are times when, yes, you're working, you're hitting it hard, you got your nose to the ground, you're doing it. And I'm proud of yourself. But at some point, get yourself some sleep. Put something on your tummy. Do something that has no involvement in the work that you were working on. Some me time. Have yourself some me time. A brain break. It's important to make a clean break between personal time and study time. And just because it's a child, they need little breaks too. Kids have their own set of life, okay? They need little breaks too. Because at a certain point, you will start to overwhelm yourself. At a certain point, that child will start to feel overwhelmed, and their behavior will show you. And there will be unrest in your house or in the streets, in your environment. Make time for activities you love doing, not like doing, not activities that's okay, stuff that you love to do. When you are engaging in something that you love, it's one of the greatest feelings ever. You will perform your best academically if you are maintaining a healthy balance and caring for yourself in all aspects of life, mentally, emotionally, physically, socially. Taking breaks while you study actually improves your focus and helps you retain more information. That part is true, but as I always advocate, know thyself. Know thyself. Some people, it'll help them to retain more information and improve their focus. And then some people are wired to where it's like they do a cram. They cram, they get it, and they go in there and they hit it. But it's like the, you know, 45 minutes studying this day, then 45 minutes that day, and so forth, up until the time where it's time to take the test. Sometimes it's not as effective for certain people. So get to know more about yourself to see, what works best for you. But also, I'll tell you that the cramming sessions can also be overwhelming as well, because it's like the rush. But some people actually really thrive with the cramming session. So know thyself and move accordingly. Have some knowledge of your child so you can help them move accordingly. And not who you want your child to be, but who your child is showing you that they are. And you can improve on certain aspects later. But meet themselves where they are. It is beneficial to get up and move around during breaks and keep yourself engaged. Be patient with yourself. Know that we are going through this together. We don't even know each other on a personal note. I'm in one place, you're in one place, but we are going through this together. It may take some trial and error to find what works best for you, and that is okay. Sometimes your little self will make mistakes. Just learn from them and just, keep going. As you keep an open mind and continue trying, you'll be surprised at how capable you really are. Trying. Just give it a try. Sometimes people they will talk themselves out of an attempt. Like, it's one thing for you to say, okay, I did it and I couldn't do it. At least you tried it. You have some people that's like, I can't do it. Did you try it? No. Well, how do you know? How do you know if you don't try? And like I say, sometimes you have the goal in mind is good, but the strategies that you are using to procure the results are ineffective. So, you just have to wrinkle your little mind, come up with some new stuff to still accomplish the goal. So this is, it's a lot being a parent. It's a lot going through 2020. But you're not going through it alone. It won't be forever. These kids will be dressing up and heading back to school, and we will be able to. This is the new norm right now. Yeah, I know people. I want to get back to the norm. I want to get this is the new norm. Life is about change, and there were not always schools to where you could send your children to and have somebody else teach them. It was really like the parents and the family members who were the child's first teachers. It really should be like that now. So the way that the city of Chicago is trying to be helpful with this whole remote learning regimen is that they are spending $50 million to get low-income students online. But they're having a problem. They are saying that the people, the parents, don't trust that this is a free deal. That is a shame when we as a people have been lied to so much, manipulated so much to where when you actually have something real in front of you or laying in your hand, you can't even recognize it. It is such a mistrust. That was the issue when we was doing remote learning back before this previous school year ended. When Corona kicked off, it went into a last minute remote learning. And it was chaotic. And a lot of houses, people have cell phones and a little hotspot on their phone, but they don't have like the Wi-Fi and everything that's running through, so that the devices and stuff could be connected, and it could minimize any interruptions between them and the teachers. So it was an outcry about that. So Chicago Public Schools started this school year remotely, and the district officials say that they are stepping up efforts to reach families about a new $50 million initiative. So Chilove salutes that. Very good. Chicago Connected is the name of the program. It aims to connect low-income students to the internet. But there's this trust gap because people are reaching out and calling these parents. There's certain organizations who are enlisted to help reach out to the parents and let them and inform them about the Chicago Connected program. And they say that the parents are skeptical. They don't believe that you're really trying to help them and help their household by providing this free internet so that these babies can get their education. They feel like extremes attached. Why? Why is that? Because look at the way that this world is being ran. Look at the interaction and involvement amongst people. People walking around here like goddamn, what they call it, wolves in sheep clothing. Coming across just as friendly and kind, and some of the most ferocious people that you would ever come into contact with. Because it was some strings attached. The program has so far signed up a quarter of the 100,000 students that officials estimate can benefit from it. Here in Chicago, they're saying 100,000 students can benefit from this internet. School district's chief information officer said, some of the folks we are trying to reach don't believe this is true. They think I'm going to get a bill at the end of this month. They're like, yeah, you got me signing up. You saying it's free. You saying you're trying to help me out. That you see how much my child on this internet or this household on this internet, I know you're finna send me a bill. I know some type of way you're finna try to squeeze something up out of my pocket. And that is all because of the strategies that people use to get what they want. And you come across like you could be trusted, and you can't be trusted. And now, when it's a resource to help people, parents are skeptical. So the district is working to resolve the barriers by signing up families and community-based groups that have reported in recent weeks, including household incomes that were too high. So, they're trying to do this, and they try to limit it to a certain household income. You have to make under this amount in order to receive these services. And now they're trying to even bypass that. So, the teachers are raising concerns because some of the connections that these children have, they're not good connections. And the children are having problems logging in, which is affecting their attendance. So Mayor Lori Lightfoot, she is the one who championed this program right here. She said it's a one-of-a-kind program involving a partnership between the city, a slew of organizations and internet service providers. So, there are people who are coming together to try to make this happen for the students here in Chicago. And I love salutes today. I like a little good positive stuff. Everybody checks in to see what we do here in Chicago. And because of this program for Chicago Connected, there are other states and cities and stuff who are reaching out to them and trying to find out how they are doing what they're doing so that they can implement similar programs, in their cities and states. So that's a good thing when we can influence each other on a positive note. So they said that the whole reason that this came about, this initiative is an answer to the pressure on officials to come up with a more comprehensive long-term response to uneven internet access for the city students. So they saying, we hear you. They saying, we hear you, and we can put something together for you. And when these people are calling you, remember the words Chicago Connected. When they're calling you and they bring this up, we have put the money aside to make sure that your household can receive the appropriate level of internet usage in order to be successful during this little time of change. So the first 2 years of the program will be funded by $5 million in federal coronavirus relief dollars and by donations from billionaire Ken Griffin, the Crown family, and others. Former President Barack Obama and his wife Michelle Obama, Chilove salute, have chipped in as well. And then the CPS is slated to cover the rest of the cost of the program in years 3 and 4. So they're saying, like, we're not just doing this for the time of the pandemic and the remote learning. We're trying to continue this in internet access, for years to come. So this is great. And so far, about 25,000 students have gotten free internet from Comcast or RCN through the initiative. So you're going to hear the word Connected Chicago. You'll hear the word Comcast, RCN. If they're using that type of language, this is a part of the city's initiative to help get this internet access to your home. Also, to let you know that it's really real, the city is starting a marketing campaign with commercials, public service announcements, and billboards. Okay? They're going to have these community-based organizations reaching out to you. So sometimes, when it's a real thing, when it's a good thing, let yourself receive that. Let yourself receive that. They're even making taking into account the households whose parents, already had Comcast or already had an account through RCN. And let's just say that they had it and fell behind for whatever reason, and they still have an outstanding balance. They are not allowing that outstanding previous balance to impact your child's future. And at this time, it is necessary for all households to have some sort of internet access. So we just make the best out of this little situation. Because, there are families who fall through the cracks, undocumented little workers or people who not walking in their proper social security numbers. You know, they're trying to alleviate that right there and just involve as many children as possible. In the coming weeks, community-based organizations will also start offering training for parents about how to navigate the digital platforms and guide their children during remote learning. This thing here, more than likely, you are going to train the parents about how to navigate, because the child, a good 9 times out of 10, gonna already know how to work it out. That's one thing about like this generation of kids. They come out like kind of figuring it out. So it would be good for the parents to have some type of knowledge on, how the process is ran throughout the day with the homeschooling through the internet. And this isn't just, like I said, for the moment. This goes well, and it is stabilized, internet is stabilized within the homes of the Chicago student. They intend to expand the program down the road to include families without school-age children, so they can use one of the greatest equalizers, the internet, to access healthcare virtually, apply for jobs, and more. Their hope is to extend Chicago Connected to households with children not in school. So basically, they're trying to put everybody on. They're trying to give as many people as possible access to the internet to empower yourself. Use this access to this internet, not just for the little Pornhub X videos and YouTube fights. Use it to gain knowledge, to put yourself in a better situation, even if it's step by step. Use this internet access to grow yourself, to grow your household, to acquire and apply more knowledge so that your personal situation can be better, can be improved. Your living situation can be improved. Your day-to-day can be improved. The more knowledge you have, the more options you have. And I'm going to give you the option to return back to us for our next segment of the Chilove Radio Show, Pop Radio Worldwide, iHeartRadio, and Spotify Premium. We love y'all.